Well, hey everyone, it's Katy and Melanie of the Make Chic Happen podcast answering some of the top questions we get over at Chic Influencer on Instagram. And today's question is, I have all of the systems in the world, thank you, Katy and Melanie, but I can't seem to just get started. I just won't take the action. What is my problem? Help. Oh gosh, this is something we can speak so well to because as women who have created businesses and helped others in our downline and done so many trainings, we really do feel like this fear is a big part of what paralyzes us to take action. And so today we're going to give you 4 tips if you're in a season of paralysis. You're just not doing the right action, taking action to be able to take your business to the next level. So let's dive right in today.
All right, let's do it. So you're right. This is the most common challenge. Anytime we start working with new clients and new mentorships, everybody's looking for a system. Yeah. Everybody just wants to know how to get it done, right? Just tell me exactly A, B, C, and D. We were actually having this conversation earlier in the day, actually, and I was like, we're giving it to you. We're giving it to you on a silver platter, and you've invested money into mentorships and trainings. You've got the system. Why aren't you taking the action? And it really comes down to people don't believe that they're worthy of success. And they're also very fearful. I would say that out of all the people we've surveyed, it's the fear of failure. It's the fear of being judged. It's like, what if I put myself out there on social media and announce my new business and people don't like it?
Right.
You know, what if I spend all of this time marketing and social content and inviting people and nobody joins me? You know, like there is that fear of failing.
Or even fear of spending money. I think we get that a lot. They're afraid of investing in their business or investing their time too.
So I think how that actually manifests is people go, I'm so afraid of what other people will think. So they make themselves busy consuming training. So people will sign up for a business. Maybe this is you. Maybe you listen to every YouTube video. You read every book that is recommended by experts. You listen to all the companies' trainings, right? You attend seminars, but you never really do the activities that are going to move the needle forward. And that's actually a form of avoidance. You're actually avoiding the actions that you're afraid of, which is inviting and posting and following up. And so, first of all, you have to recognize that you're doing it. So awareness is the first step to really creating change. So once you say to yourself, okay, I'm avoiding by making myself busy, and I'm disguising my busy as work, but I'm not making any money. What am I going to do about it? So I think it's important to bring it to the light. And Katy always says this. Anytime there is something that you're wrestling with, you got to bring it to the light. You have to say, you know what? I'm actually incredibly scared that I am going to launch my business publicly on social media. I'm going to devote the time to it. And, you know, I may not make any money doing this, or nobody might join me right away. And so we go, yeah, you're right. You may spend 30 days. You may post 30 posts on social media and nobody may join you. But did you die? Like literally, like I asked somebody this. I'm like, did you actually die? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, okay. Did you learn anything? Well, yeah, we learned 30 ways that didn't work. Or we learned maybe 1 out of those 15 actually did turn out okay. And so we've gotten better, right? We've tried. And the only way to overcome the fear is through actually facing the fear and taking action. And when you realize you didn't die, people didn't necessarily, you know, they may not have bought from you, but you're okay. Yeah. You can keep moving forward. Also, another piece of this too is, guess what? People are going to judge you. People are going to probably unfollow. People are not always going to be interested. And as soon as you normalize that and say, oh yeah, you know, not everybody's my cup of tea, which also means not everybody, I'm not going to be theirs either. Then you can kind of release that, I don't need to please. I'm just trying to attract my ideal people. So really the first thing is acknowledge that you're fearful of something. Acknowledge that there's a fear standing in your way. Feel the fear. And then I want you to take action anyways. And then I want you to recognize, okay, it's all right. Yeah. I'm still standing. life is good, and I can figure it out in the process of feeling my way forward.
I love that, because you can't actually fail if you commit to figuring it out. Like you actually can't, because every failure is actually you one step closer to figuring out a way it works. And Melanie and I have experienced this at Chic Influencer in the process of changing up how we bring people into our business. We have gone through a season of, wow, this feels like a failure, but it's not. It's actually a figure it out. And it's kind of wonky, and it's kind of weird, and it feels awkward, and it's not quite comfortable for us. But we also know that commitment to figuring it out is what creates success. So promise us that you're going to be committed to figuring it out, and allow yourself that freedom of not failing.
Yeah.
When you figure it out, you cannot fail. All right, let's talk about number 2. This is my absolute favorite. And this is kind of one of those pieces of advice that make you go, wait, what did she just say? And listen, I love when entrepreneurs and business owners and people tell you to dream big. The sky is the limit. And they get all pumped up, and you're motivated, and you're excited, and you're like walking on fire. And then Monday hits and it comes down to action. And you're like, well, my feet kind of hurt because that fire was kind of hot, and I don't know if I can do this. And so all of a sudden, that big vision you had before the weekend turns into just smoke and ashes by Monday. And so when I think about this, and this is key, is I think it's great to have a big vision for where you want your business. It's perfect. You need it. You need to know where you're going. But you need to be able to blur that out. You need to be able to kind of take your hand to that big vision and go, I love that this is my big vision, but I can't focus on the big vision right now. I need to focus on the small action. And focusing on the small action that needs to be done every single day in order to achieve that goal is how you get to it. And I always give this comparison, and at the time, this was 7 years ago, I was going through chemo treatment. I remember when they told me what the process was going to be towards healing, towards cancer-free, it was overwhelming. I could not fathom what I was going to have to endure physically, mentally, even emotionally over that span of time, because it was just such a big vision of being cancer-free that I couldn't even picture what that meant on the daily basis. And so I started kind of thinking about, all right, I know what that vision is. I had a very clear vision of what cancer-free would look like to me. I had the clear vision of the shirt I would wear, the headband I would wear that would hold back my thinning hair, the way I would hug my husband, the way that I would just embrace the first workout before that last treatment. And I knew exactly what I wanted it to feel like. I mean, a sensory way of building that vision. And it was key that I had that, because it gave me something to work towards. But my vision didn't stay there. Instead, my vision became, what is the thing that I need to do today that's going to lead me one step closer to healing? And so I started thinking about, after each chemo treatment, today my only focus is getting enough water. My only focus is making sure that I'm resting. I also know that I need to make sure that I'm fueling my body with something so that I'm getting enough calories so I stop losing so much weight. And so those little steps that I took every single day, sure, the vision was there for a moment of inspiration where I could pull it down and be excited about it. But I had to keep my eyes focused on what I could control, and it's between the 10 and the 2, as if your hands are on a steering wheel. What can I do today to get me closer to tomorrow? And I want you to think about, if you really are afraid of taking action, it's probably because you're overwhelmed with what the outcome could be instead of what your output needs to be. Your today, what are the things that I need to do today to get to the final outcome? And so take a step back. Have your vision. I love it. I think you need it, but I need you to be really focused on what your vision is today, the action that you need to take today to build to that tomorrow.
I love it. And you just told your son the same exact thing. He was worried about what hockey practice was going to be in the middle of the week. And you're like, we're just going to focus on today.
Don't worry about Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. You need to focus only on today. What do you need to worry about? And he was like, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And we do that. We do that here at Chic, you know, and we have our time blocker. And a lot of times what activities, what things are must-dos that we have to check off the box today so that we can keep the business moving forward. And sometimes when it's in a busy season of life, sometimes we're only looking at one day ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're in that right now, and make sure you have access to the time blocker that we provide. It's just a really great way to focus on the activities that you need to do every single day to be able to build to that vision that you're working towards.
All right. Okay. So the third one.
Okay. Should I take this one too?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Gut check your internal narrative. I'm just going to bring it to the light. I'm just going to call it like it is. If your thinking is stinking, it's not going to get you anywhere with your business. Right. If you are in a negative frame of mind, we need to actually call that to the light and actually not allow it to dance in the darkness anymore. And so I remember being in a season of my business where I was stuck in comparison, and maybe you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, that's me. Or I would just be bitter because I felt like all I was doing was slaving away at the computer, and I was working so hard and not seeing it come up in my income. I wasn't seeing an increase in my income, and it was building up this sort of resentment. And even beyond business, I bet you right now, you can think about some things you're thinking about that tend to be negative. Or you are thinking about circles of people that you surround yourself with, and when you leave that circle, you kind of can feel your energy depleted. And if that is the case, you need to gut check and ask yourself, what is the narrative I am speaking to myself when it comes to my business? It could be my weight. It could be my nutrition, my friends. What is that narrative that I am speaking? And when you start to audit your account, when you start to really audit what's going on in your headspace, you start to find, wow, there's a lot of potholes. There's a lot of places where I'm allowing that negativity to make an impact on me. And then every time you see a negative, find a way to replace it with a truth or a positive. And I say a truth because I don't necessarily need to fart like, rainbows and butterflies. I don't need to do that. Not everything is really positive and rainbows and butterflies. We're not unicorns up in here. But what we can do is be realistic with situations instead of negative with situations. And so when we become very focused on our internal narrative, we can start to rewrite the story that we currently have. So ask yourself, do an audit in your head. Where are things that every single day that you find yourself being negative? Is it when you look in the mirror in the morning and don't like the body that you see? How can you reshift it instead of focusing on, I just need to lose 5 pounds? Wow, I am so grateful that my body is healthy and that it can move me in the morning. Instead of saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I should be so much further along by now in my business. What if you say, I'm so grateful for the space that I am in my business and the information I have access to, because I know that I am in control of the work that I can do to get me to the next level. And when you start to do that, you change your narrative, you change your life.
Yeah, you do. I love it. I love it so much. And I'm over here struggling. You guys, if you are listening to this, you can probably hear me coughing a little bit in the background.
I know.
I've had a cold for like 2 weeks. Gosh, it's like insane. So thanks for hanging in there and bearing with us as we kind of work through this. So
take number 4.
All right, I'll take number 4. All right, you guys, you had to take a quick little break. I need my cough drops. Got myself some water. Life is good. Let's talk about tip number 4. Gosh, makes me really grateful. We were just talking about this for our health. You know, when you've got a little bit of a cold, because man, it sure is hard to record stuff when you don't, when you've got a cough, for real. Okay, so the 4th tip. Again, everybody wants the system, but here's the thing. Even when you have the perfect system, you're still having to figure things out in real time, which everything is figure outable. I've said this on stage many of times in presentations that in life, you have to be able to look at an obstacle and say, all right, people aren't engaging with my social media content. This is figure outable. Or actually, Katy and I, we decided to present we decided to do a webinar completely different than we have ever done before. So uncomfortable. It made us sweat. It made us uncomfortable. We were doing things we had never done before. And we were like, you know what? If it fails, it fails. If nobody signs up, nobody signs up. But guess what we're going to do? We're going to figure it out. We're going to keep asking questions. We're going to keep redoing it. We're going to try to tweak little angles along the way, because we know that based on other people's success, that the system works. We just need to figure out how it's going to work for us.
Yeah.
And if you look at your business that way and you say, all right, you know, it's going to work for me too. I just need to keep asking myself, like, how do I figure it out? How do I break apart the process and fine tune and tweak? And we sort of think of it in terms of a wheel. Every time you implement something, you implement and then you go, okay, let's reflect on it. When we reflect on it, we say, you know what? My call to action wasn't very strong. So I'm going to refine it. I'm going to tell the same story, but I have a stronger call to action. Then you post it, you do it again. Then you say to yourself, all right, I posted it, call to action did well, but I think it could have done better. And we just did the same thing, right? We didn't get as many enrollees as we wanted. We didn't just scrap the whole thing. We said, all right, well, call to action was okay. Let's change the tagline. So let's change the tagline, keep the call to action the same. Let's do it again. Then we reflect, we refine, and we do it again until we get the results. So it's not that the system is broken. Sometimes we just have to have the stick with itness to figure out the process and how it works for us. And truly, everything in business is figure outable. Most often, somebody has already done something similar to what you want to do. So there are lots of people, and there are also Katy and I, and most of you that listen to this podcast, you are business owners and you are trying to market yourself on social media. And guess what? We've done what you want to do. So we can be your guides. We are your roadmap, and you just got to come inside, whether it's through our community, through our private mentorships, through our course, and you got to learn. But you have to understand that even for you, it's got to be customizable, and everything is figure outable.
I love this episode so much. And also, too, remember, leave a review, tag your friends, let us know that you're listening to this podcast. Let us know if you have content ideas that you want us to create, or questions that you have. That's what we are here for. Your learning is our goal. We look forward every single week to helping you grow.
All right, before you go, an insanely useful business tip. All right, if you have a fear of inviting, here's what I want you to do. Before you sit down to do your business invites for the day, I want you to think, somebody on the other side of this computer screen or the other side of this phone needs what I have to offer. I have an opportunity to change their life. I want you to turn on some music. I want you to dance. I want you to sing. And I want you to know that your business makes an impact. Go invite with energy and positivity today.